All right, everybody. Sometimes technology has its way. Technology wants to have its way, and it did this morning, but we overcame. We overcame because we just restarted things, rebooted things, and sometimes in life you need to do a reboot. And that's what we did today. And we're up, we're running, and we're ready to go. Sometimes life throws a little curveball at you, and you just need to pivot, as we all are doing these days, and keep going. Just find a way to work around it, get restarted, repivot, and keep moving forward. So, we have so much in store for you today. It's Every day has been a great day. The past 2 days have been tremendous, but today we have some special guests. We have Lucinda, who is an author of The Big Ask, Lucinda Cross. She is someone you're going to want to tune in for because she is going to show you how to put all of this together, all this knowledge, information, inspiration, and education that you've received throughout this summit, and package it into your big ask. What do you want to ask for? What do you want to ask for, whether it's for new clients, new business, new connections, new whatever it might be? You have to have the ability, the courage, and the inspiration to make your big ask. And likely it's more than one ask that you're going to need. So we're going to move forward and show you all that's in for today. Despite any glitches, despite any technology issues, we're going to keep moving forward. We're going to keep moving forward. So let me bring in our wonderful voice. The voice. I've done her a new name. Here she comes. Our, our voice for the summit is the one and only LaWanda Harris. Let's bring her on for today.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Build Your Consulting Business Now Summit. Oh my goodness, Jacqueline, this has been so amazing. And I think that your opening message was so poignant about having to reboot and restart in life and to make sure that we are, understanding that sometimes you just got to turn it off and turn it back on. What a
Yeah,
powerful statement.
exactly.
Life teaches you
Exactly.
lessons.
Surely does. And one of the big treats for today, I was talking about Lucinda Cross, but
Mhm.
starting us right out of the gate is none other than our LaWanda Harris.
It's me, guys, and I am so glad to be with you. Now, I'm playing a different role today, so you guys will have to just be a little bit patient with me because I want to tell you something that's very true. This summit has inspired me. I mean, it has inspired me to action. And that's what you want when you are involving yourself with a summit of this nature, when you're getting this kind of information. You want this summit to inspire you to move from where you are right now to where you're going to be. And
Mhm.
I can only tell you, as a vendor, I have connected with so many vendors from this conference. And I'll be honest with you, that doesn't always happen. I'm in this seat many times over, and I can't honestly say that I have taken from the other summits that I've worked information that will help me in my own consulting businesses. So, to that, I give major kudos to the organizers, visionaries, founders, all of the team members of the Build Your Consulting Business Now Summit because it has been value added. So today I want to kind of talk to you about my journey. I want to talk to you about my experience in moving into entrepreneurship and how I got to this place because it didn't start out like this. And I believe that many of you are in the exact same place. So I'm going to share my screen here really quickly, and I'm going to bring up some slides for you. I have a presentation called The Consistent Pivot. And I think once we go through it a bit, it'll make a whole lot of sense. So let me just go ahead and connect us. And let's just see how that all works out. I am going to share my screen. It is disabled at the moment.
Let's take care of that for you. There you go.
Alrighty, try that again. And I think this is me. And let's click a couple of buttons here. Got it. righty. Are you able to see my screen?
Absolutely. Great.
Fabulous, fabulous. It's working. It always
Things are
makes me
working. It's
happy.
happening.
Alrighty, so let's see. Now, what I want to do is I am going to share this baby right here. It's not allowing me. Ah, here it is. All right, so I am here, and I'm so thankful to be able to share this piece of content with you. So, today we're going to talk about the consistent pivot. 2020 has not had any level of clear vision, right? Like it has been anything but what we expected. I don't think that there was a prophet or a psychic or a visionary who could anticipate that we were going to have the situation that we have here in 2020. I mean, 2020 literally changed everything. We have COVID-19 that has changed everything from the way we dress to where we go, how we socialize, and even how we conduct meetings like this. And we've had to adapt and change and pivot and prepare ourselves for that experience. This situation wasn't nationwide. It hit us like a ton of bricks. It wasn't nationwide, but it was actually worldwide. So everybody is in the same boat. It's been an opportunity to kind of dial back, dial down, and reassess yourselves and take advantage of opportunities and embrace new projects and really define who you want to be. And for many of us, being safe at home evolved us into who we are today. Well, one of my pandemic projects that I picked up along the way was gardening. And I'm going to tell you something. This has been one of the greatest joys of my life because as an entrepreneur, I work a lot. Even on yesterday, I was juggling multiple clients while I was here with you. And so it's interesting how we're able to do that, but you have to have an outlet. And so my outlet during the pandemic became gardening. So here are a couple of the pictures of some of the things that's growing just outside in my backyard. That very top picture is brand new. I took it this week, and you'll see that I have green peppers growing on my pepper tree. In the garden box at the bottom is some basil, and that's me holding that fresh basil. And then I also included a picture of an eggplant. Many people ask me, well, what are you going to do with all of that basil, LaWanda? And so when you grow a garden for the first time and you've never done it before, it does leave the question like, okay, how do we eat all of the produce that we are creating? So what I did was I made pesto. I got a food processor and I made jars of fresh pesto that was amazing, and it was right from my own garden. The interesting thing about the word pivot is somehow that word became like the 2020 catchphrase. It became the word that everybody is using, and it almost would make you think that 2020 owns the word pivot because we've all had to do it. We've all had to shift our mindset and change our directions and figure out what we're going to be doing for the next portion of our lives. But I want to tell you something, guys. There is really nothing new under the sun. 2020 didn't introduce the pivot. As a matter of fact, you guys, we have been pivoting all of our lives. The fact is that we have consistently been pivoting. There has always been something that we were doing that we had to change our mind and do differently the next time. And 2020 gave us that opportunity to do that. Now, we might have called the pivot by different names. I mean, there was the midlife crisis, or, my season changed, but it doesn't really make a difference. We've all had to consistently pivot in our lives. I mean, just think about where you were 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Just think about where you were and where you are today. The reason for that is because you made a decision to consistently pivot. I'm going to share with you my journey to here, my journey to this seat, my journey to what I'm doing today. Now, I promise you, I'm going to give you the abridged version and make it as quick as possible. So come on, let's go. It all began 50 years ago in 1970. Actually, I'm not going to go that far back in the essence of time, but I put that slide in here because I wanted you guys to know that I am 50 years old. I turned 50 this year, and it is probably one of the most amazing experiences because I feel like I am preparing myself for my next level in life. And I'm doing more things now than I was doing before. And I have freedom to be able to explore and enjoy and try those things. But I will tell you this, that I was born in Columbus, Ohio, home of the Ohio State Buckeyes. Go Bucks. You can move a girl out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the girl. And I am always going to be dedicated to my hometown, Columbus, Ohio, and the Ohio State Buckeyes. But when I first started my career, I started as a switchboard operator. Now, it might not have looked quite like this photograph here, but regardless, I was responsible for moving callers that called into my companies from one location to the next location. And I was what you call the gatekeeper. And I enjoyed that so much. Truth of the matter is, I still enjoy answering the phones when I'm working for companies because I think it's an opportunity to really allow your voice to come through and to shine and to give people that welcome first impression of the company that you're representing. I worked in that capacity and I continued to move up what you would call the corporate ladder. Now, many people don't think of administrative careers as climbing the corporate ladder, but this administrative professional absolutely did. And so my career led me to what is called C-level administrators. I was top of the top, in demand, the highest level that you can go in the administrative field because I now am supporting chief executive officers, chief marketing officers, anybody with the C in front of their name, that's who I supported. Because of that, my income matched my level of responsibility. And I enjoyed that type of work so far. Around 2006 or 2004, I visited the city or the state of Florida. I went on a cruise for the first time in 2004, and I'm an avid cruiser now. I mean, listen, I've been to Alaska and Greece and Rome, and I stay on a cruise ship, of course, prior to COVID-19. And that's one of the things that I'm hoping and looking forward to coming back because I'm an avid I am a cruise enthusiast. But in 2004, I said, I'm going to move here. And sure enough, in 2006, after having put maps all over my bedroom walls in Ohio and learning the area, I made my dream come true. And I picked up my children and we moved to sunny South Florida, where I live now in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. One of the first things that I had to do when I got here was I had to find a job. But because my skill set was so refined, it was so developed, and I was coming in from a different area, I literally started a bidding war between two employment agencies. So by the time to within 2 days, I had landed a new C-level administrative position, earning those top dollars again, only because I knew how to present myself and my skill set in a professional way. It was really a cool job. Like, I literally went to work for a man who owns an entire city. Just think about this. This dude is so affluent that his father purchased acres of land and renamed it to Aventura, Florida, which is one of the most high income income levels per capita in the state of Florida. Phenomenal experience. They focused on building high-rise luxury condominiums, and as a matter of fact, a one-bedroom might have set you back about $800,000. So because the company was working in inventory that with that level of experience or with that cost point to it, The company itself was rather affluent. I mean, baby, we had a butler and everything. When we wanted coffee, we called the butler who brought it to our desk with a white towel over his arm and presented it in that type of style. What an amazing experience. But then something happened in 2008. I mean, I was living the high life from 2006 to 2008. I was making good money. I was working for an amazing company, and it was a privilege to go to work. But then when that financial crisis hit in 2008, guess what? Everybody got laid off. I went from a $70,000 a year paying job down to $255 a week. This ought to sound real familiar to you right now because, believe it or not, we are right back in that same situation. People that were making $100,000 a year are now getting unemployment and standing in food lines and making $250 a week because that is the highest amount of money you can make in the state of Florida, regardless of your income. So if you're over a certain threshold, which I don't know what it is, up into six figures, $250 a week is what unemployment will pay you while you're looking for another job. Man, that was a hard time. I had responsibilities. I have a child. I have a home. Rent is expensive in South Florida. We pay for these palm trees. I mean, listen, we live where people vacation. It's beautiful here, but it also has a very high cost of living. And it was hard. I was scared. I was nervous. I was unsure about my future, but I knew I had to find another job. It took me 5 months. I don't know why I knew I had to find another job because I had skills that I could have used then, but because I wasn't prepared, I found another job. This time, I landed at an up and coming tech company, supporting the president and founder of that company, and I had it made in the shade again. I demanded that top salary. I was working with this individual. I was managing his whole life. I had a $50,000 expense account. I was making things happen. Everybody at the company liked me. If you look at my LinkedIn page, most of them have left me referrals from my work. It was exciting. The funny thing about that tech company, though, is that they stayed a number two pencil, a sharp number two pencil ahead of the feds. Not that they were corrupt, not that they were bad. They weren't. They were above board. But the industry that we played in, the sandbox that we played in, was very corrupt. And at some point in time, the FTC came in and shut the entire industry down. But I want to tell you something about that. It was purposeful. And it was there that I made the commitment to move me to where I am now. That was 2014 when that job ended. The funny thing about it is it was located in Plantation, Florida. And I want to back up just a little bit and make this point because I remember when I was relocating to South Florida and my realtor was advising me about properties in Plantation, Florida. And I just thought to myself, no, I don't want to live in Plantation because my family, my people, my ancestors, we got a history with Plantation, and I didn't want any part of that experience. Funny thing happened after I took this job with the tech company. One of my children, out of the mouths of babes, they're adults, said, "Well, would you much rather live in Plantation or work on the plantation?" Boom, boom. Truth of the matter is, I didn't want to work on either one. But it was at that tech company that I made a decision and a commitment. Because when the feds came in, I watched this company go from 65 local employees, 200 within the entire company in two different offices, different states. I watched them go from all of those people in the local office down to one. And I was that one person that was left. We went from having a 5,000 square foot office to me working out of the home of the founder and president of that organization. It was probably one of the most scariest times of my life. I was looking down the pike at yet another corporate layoff. I was staring down the reality that I was getting ready to be back on $250 a week of unemployment. I knew that things were going to get difficult, but this time things were different, you see, because back when we had that economic crash in 2008, I got smart and I took advantage of the market when things fell and fluctuated, and I bought a house in the middle of that crisis. What are you doing in the middle of this pandemic that we're in to set you up for your next level? So at that point in time, I now had a mortgage, not just rent. I had a house that I had to pay for, and I was nervous and worried, but I made a commitment. I started to focus on my strength. What is it that I do at this company that I get paid to do? What is it that I do so well that I wouldn't mind doing it and I would do it for free? What is it that I enjoy so much that I would be okay if I did it for myself for the rest of my career? What is that thing? And I figured it out. I became an event planner. You see, at that tech company, I must have planned 14 to 15 events per year. It was all about keeping the morale high and making sure that the developers were excited and ecstatic. As a matter of fact, my first week at the company, I was charged with planning the 1 million customer appreciation party. That's right. This company had 1 million customers for their product and was charging them all $9.99 per month. Well, you do the math. There was some real revenue coming in those doors. But man, I loved planning those events. I was over the top. If it was bring your kids to work day, man, our kids came to work. They had briefcases waiting for them at the door. They had personalized name badges with their pictures on them to put around their neck. They had a full workbook of activities. When my kids went back to school the next day to report on their bring your kid to work day, their reports were phenomenal because their experience was true, real to life, fun, and excitement. There were corporate barbecues. There were holiday parties. There was Halloween parties. It was any and everything. Whatever we could do, we found a reason to celebrate. And I was behind the scenes on all of that, making sure that it went off without a hitch and that every detail was covered. You know, there's a market for event planners. And so I made the decision to be creative and figure out how I could move in that direction. Now, the owner of my company, even though things were getting really bad, he was not short of any cash. He wasn't looking forward to another paycheck because, man, he had a lot of money. So they go on a family vacation, a 30-day family vacation every summer. And I started to strategize. As I'm the only person that now works for the company, I'm sitting in his house, which is now my office. I started to strategize because I knew that was when I was going to make a move. When he rolled out for his 30-day vacation, when the cat was away, this mouse right here started to play. I purchased a franchise while they were away. I literally purchased a event management franchise. And Jacqueline, you'll be appreciative of this because I found that franchise by going to a class at a local chamber of commerce on LinkedIn. And while we were in that class, I was doing what they told me to do to update my profile. And whatever I did dropped this company into my visual. And I saw an opportunity to purchase an event management franchise. I jumped on that thing as quick as I could, signed up, became a brand new franchise owner. And while the family that I was working on was away on their vacation, I was with them, learning the systems, going through the class, being certified to own this event management company that I am now a part of. That company had 120 locations all across the world. That's right. I joined an amazing franchise where now I'm not just by myself. For instance, my specialty is fundraising galas, 400 500 person galas, uh, online live and silent auctions. That's where I focused on. But I have a team member that's still in business over in Tampa, Florida, and they do major trade shows, 50,000 square feet, 200 breakout rooms. Well, what made that really unique was that if I got a client that needed that service, I had someone in my conglomerate, in my business model, that could help me plan those types of events. The sky was the limit. The resources, the information, the purposes, the opportunities were tremendous. But guess what I did after I purchased that franchise? I kept my job and I discreetly did research and development, figured out my industry, worked on my market. I honed my skills. I built up my pipeline. I spent my money in my company. I bought my equipment, my computers. I did what I had to do because I had a job that was able to finance the needs of my new budding organization. I even signed my first $75,000 client, my first client with a $75,000 event budget. That was huge, and it was for a local government. Guess what I did then? I kept my job. For 6 more months, I planned that event for that city or entity. I stacked even more money from that job. I used up my health insurance plan because when you're an entrepreneur, I used up my health insurance plan. Cobra is expensive. But the interesting thing happened. I had an emotional breakdown because I knew that I was getting ready to give up my paycheck. I knew that this job thing was coming to an end. I knew that the owner of my company knew when my last day was, but I didn't know. I had literally given someone else control of my life. They had the ability to pull the puppet strings. They were able to take away my salary, my income. Even though I had something else going on, it was nice to know that every 2 weeks I was going to get these thousands of dollars in my bank account to pay my bill. It was scary. And I was so scary that I couldn't even focus on the realities of my life. I mean, here I am working a job, but I own a fully branded franchise. Couldn't see that. I have a major contract that I'm currently working on. Wasn't focused on that. I was immobilized with fear. I was doing stuff at that company just to keep that little check that was so far outside of the administrator that I was hired to do. I was literally changing light bulbs in that man's house, putting windshield washer fluid in his cars. I was doing things that I had no business doing. Why? Because I wanted to remain relevant for somebody else instead of becoming relevant for me. Well, I'm here to tell you that fear is nothing more than false evidence appearing real. It was a false because all I had to do was step out on my faith and get moving towards my next position. You got to be smart, but you don't want to overthink. Have SMART goals, goals that are sustainable, that are measurable, that are attainable. Set yourself some SMART goals and then go ahead and leap. This is me. The day after, I finally let that job go. It was December the 3rd, and I woke up and I put on my Plan Ahead Events blazer, and I went to the beach and I sat at a table at a restaurant, and my life had just changed forever. So I won't tell you that everything has been easy because it hasn't. There were things that I had to go through as I entered my entrepreneurial journey that was difficult. There were mountains to climb, there were valleys to get out of, there were experiences that I had to go through. But I'm going to tell you something. I enjoyed my freedom. There were challenges that we had to overcome, but I still owned my time. And I understood that with that, that it was all going to be okay. When I was working for myself, I was gaining more and more clients. I was running amazing events. I had amazing corporations that was bringing me in to plan their amazing events. This girl who is scared as ever on December the 14th trusted herself to be able to move to the next level. And man, oh man, it was something to behold. But I don't want you to get out there and forget your purpose because you're going to face challenges and situations that is going to be difficult. But you have to be committed to stop looking for a job and to work your secret sauce. That's what this conference and this summit is all about. We're helping you find your secret sauce so that you never have to work for another individual again. So I put this slide in here because it's very important. This is about not giving up. It might be a challenge for you, but check this out and stay inspired.
Hi, I'm Tiffany Peterson, and I want to share with you today what I call the law of the harvest. Years ago, when I was in sales and just getting started on that path, and I was new to it, and I had nerves and doubts and fears, like many of you, I assume, as you're starting anything new or a new path or a new business. And I was introduced to that phrase that the harvest cannot be prevented. And I don't know about you, but as we're working through life, I really love the concept of a garden, right? Is that there's a certain law of the universe that what we plant and nourish must bring forward its like fruit. And so when you think about for yourself, there are times where it's really easy to get discouraged. I've been there myself, where you're putting in the effort, you're nourishing that garden, you're out there watering it, weeding it, and maybe you're not seeing the results as quickly as you would like. But there's these amazing laws at play in the universe that if you stick with something, you will meet with success. See, there's this phrase that I love to teach that says this: persistence trumps talent. There will always be a harvest that comes every year, every fall, without fail, if we are faithful and consistent to do our part to nourish that garden. Now, for some of you, you might be in what I call the July of your life right now. You may have started in May, so to speak, symbolically, started planting that garden. You were all excited, bought new overalls, new gardening tools, got out there, planted those seeds, and it was fun, right? Right out of the gate. And then a few weeks goes by, and a month goes by, or 2 months goes by, and maybe there's some sprouts coming through, or maybe there's been one or two little things, but there isn't this full crop of results that you're watching, and it seems like everyone else has but you. That's your July. You're now hot, you're sweaty, you're tired. Maybe your partner who joined in that garden with you in the beginning is nowhere to be found any longer, and it's up to you. I promise you, if you push through that July, in other words, that adversity and that struggle and that challenge, you will meet with success because your harvest cannot be prevented. Be more concerned about being true to your dreams than your dreams coming true. I'll say that again. You be loyal. There's loyalty pays great dividends. Be true to your dreams, and your dreams will be true to you. The harvest can never be prevented. That universal law is in play for all of us. So I invite you to choose to be persistent, choose to continue to nourish your dreams, and you also will meet with success.
Yeah. Choose you. choose to be successful, make the decision to work for yourself. So after I got over all of my hurdles, I have started to develop my brands. And so you see my first one, my Plan Ahead events, that has morphed into You Need an MC. And life challenges has allowed me to start a new post-divorce advocacy group called Chronicles. So those are my three babies. Those are my three uh, projects that I work, that I earn revenue from. Because the reality of it is that you can turn your passion, what's on the inside of you, your secret sauce, you can turn those into revenue generating ideas as long as you put the steps in place and you understand that whatever you nurture, whatever you nourish, whatever you put loyalty, effort, and work into will yield its fruit. I'm a living testimony. And one of the things that we always want to have in business is a give back. And that's where my Chronicles Post Divorce Advocacy Group steps in. That is near and dear to my heart because I'm helping other people through the July of their lives reach for their goals, even in the midst of some of their pain. I've got a few tips here for success. This is what worked for LaWanda, and I want to share them with you. The first thing I'm going to tell you is to make up your mind and be consistent. Stop bouncing around from one idea to the next idea to the next idea. You get your target in mind and then be consistent. And every day of your life, you get up, you show up, and you work what your decision has been. I want you to work harder for you than you ever have worked for anyone else. Jacqueline said it earlier in this summit that she realized something, that if she worked hard, she was going to get a paycheck. But if she worked even harder, she was going to get a paycheck. But what about the rewards that come from being business ownership? When do you get to take a 30-day vacation? When are you able to just not go to work today because you don't feel like it and not have to make up an excuse and tell somebody that you're sick? Work harder, be determined to work harder for yourself than you ever worked for anyone else. I want you guys to wear your own logo. This was huge for me. People who know me know that I don't go anywhere without my logo on. I mean, I'm even sitting here doing this conference and you see one of my logos here on my boom mic stand. I am always representing my brands, no matter where I go. But wear your own logo. For years, I wore somebody else's logo on my chest. I was identifying, or someone else's identity was attached to me. Something else that we learned this week, that when people lose those jobs, they lose their identity. So put your own logo on your chest, stick it out, and make it work. I want you guys to always look the part that you want to play. How you show up matters. If you really want it, show up like you really want it. Redefine your service offerings often. When I first bought my franchise, there was over 50 different service offerings that the franchise offered. Well, guess what? Nobody can be the jack of all trades and master them at the same time. So redefine your service offerings, know your market, who your target audience is, and go after that business. Because if you chase too many rabbits, they're all going to get away. Know when to take some time off. I take a vacation every September. I don't care what. That's my vacation time, and it's generally someplace amazing. This year was supposed to be Barcelona, Spain, but COVID-19. But last year it was Greece, and I'm looking forward to getting back out there. I will tell you this. You need to make sure that you under-promise and over-deliver. When you're working with those clients, give them their money's worth and some extra because they'll remember you and want to bring you back. I want you to surround yourself with like-minded people that want to see you win. You don't have time in your life for any negative Nellies. You only have time for people who want to help you get to your next level. And finally, I want you to remain flexible enough to pivot as often as necessary. To me, the pivot requires preparation, ingenuity, versatility, seizing those opportunities, and being tenacious to meet your goals. Pivoting is not new. It is not the 2020 catchphrase. This is what you must do in order for you to be successful in life. I want to leave you with this final thought. It was authored by one of my favorite authors. I'll just call him AP. I'm not talking about advanced placement classes, but I'm actually talking about the Apostle Paul, who happens to have written this quote in the best-selling book of all times. Did you know that in 1995, the Guinness World Book of Records declared that this bestseller has over 5 billion copies in circulation? That has got to be a book that is worth reading. And it says, "So my dear brothers and sisters, be strong and unmovable. Always work enthusiastically for the Lord, for you know that nothing you do for the Lord is ever useless." When you are using your God-given talents, your God-given strength, your God-given abilities, when you are using them in the capacity of taking them out unto the marketplace, it will never, ever be useless. We are running an exclusive right now for our MC business because you are a part of this amazing conference, because you are here and you're a part of the summit. You have the ability to now tap into some of my resources. Today, I'm offering a 15% discount to all of our summit participants, where you're able to book me for one of your events with a 15% discount for events between now and January the 15th. You can get the email from Jacqueline. We'll send it out to your box. If you are interested in receiving our offer, please make sure that you email Jacqueline at the summit and drop my name in the subject line, and we'll give you information on how to connect with that special offer. I want to thank you guys for listening. I am rooting for you, but I want to give you the opportunity to connect. So if there was something that I said or did today that really inspired you to your next level of greatness, please reach out to me. I'm live on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and my websites, and I would love to hear from you soon. Go get your money. And don't forget, be a consistent pivoter. Thanks, guys.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So many points that I hope you took notes. I sure did. I sure did. What I loved that I resonated with is the fact that this is yet another bump in the road. If you remember back in high school, the bell-shaped curve, in
Yep.
order to have that high point, there has to be a low point. But that low point
Absolutely.
isn't always a negative. It's the momentum to give you the push to go to the top yet again.
Yes.
This is
Listen, you
2008
sound like
all
you're
over
getting ready to
again.
preach.
Well, this is what I'm passionate about, and that's why we have such synergy, because
Mhm.
we see things the same way. This is 2008 all over again. And all those who said, "I'm never going to let this happen to me again," some of them let
Went
it
right
happen.
back to work.
Yeah. So what also I wrote down is trusting in yourself. The gifts,
Yes.
talents, and abilities that you naturally have are the gifts you are supposed to use to give to the world.
Mm-hmm.
I also wrote down, just don't give up. Yet another running theme through all of our participants and all of our summit uh, panelists, those who have been speaking and giving their knowledge, they all are saying, just don't give up,
Don't
because
give up.
eventually those seeds will grow. I mentioned that earlier. We're all giving it in different ways. And I've said this before. It doesn't matter whether we are in the same field.
Mm-hmm.
There's no competition because you're going to do what you do differently than how I'm going to do supposedly the same thing, because who's attracted to you is going to be attracted to you, and who's going to be attracted to me is going to be attracted to me, even if we're supposedly doing the same thing.
That's right. You know, I reached out to somebody here in the summit, Jacqueline, that does something very similar to what I did. She spoke on Monday, and she and I are going to be working together because her audience and my audiences are two different audiences. There is no spirit of competition.
Right.
And so I really want to, I think that's an important nugget to drive home. You know, so many of us are coaches, so many of us are in the same professional categories, but there really is no competition. There are over 7 billion people on this planet. There is no way, as much as I would love to be able to serve all of those individuals and cash their checks, it is no way possible that I can do that. So don't be afraid of competition. Sometimes you will find somebody in your field that can mentor you and help you. And I'm telling you, I've already scheduled that appointment, which was from the summit. Had the summit not happened, I would have never met her. And guess what I was doing? I was pulling out my hair trying to figure out how to do it with my staff that doesn't have any experience developing this level of a community. Well, Melissa's already done it, and now she's going to help me build that community here for my tribe. Find your tribe,
Yeah.
and those are the individuals that you're called to speak to.
Well,
Yeah.
I know our audience wants more from you, especially in this time of year when there are going to be virtual office parties, virtual family gatherings, and you're going to need an MC.
Yes.
That MC is LaWanda C. Harris.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
UnitedMC.com. Woohoo! See you guys later.
The email to connect with her is in the chat. Just send me an email with LaWanda in the subject line. And we're going to thank LaWanda so much and move right into our next presenter, who is Jessica Koch. She's ready, and raring to go. Let's promote her to a panelist. And LaWanda, we know we're going to see you later on today. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye for now.